Hi again. Happy you're here joining me for another devotional. My name is Marco, if you don't know already, and I'm the preacher with the Sigaville Church of Christ in Sigaville, Texas. I pray that you're doing well, that all is going well for you in your life, and that you're being blessed by God. And either way, if you are or if you are not, I'd love to help you be closer to Him. And so always feel free to reach out to us here on the Facebook page that we have where we upload these, and or even attending our services. But I hope you're doing well. We're going to be in Acts chapter 20. If you want to turn with me there to Acts chapter 20, verse number 13, we're going to look at a period in Paul's life where he was extremely busy and had a lot of things that he wanted to do. And we certainly can relate to that. You know, you find yourself to be busy a lot of the time. I find myself to be busy a lot of the time. Usually when someone asks you, how are you doing? We say something like, oh, I'm busy, or I'm good, just busy, or, oh man, if I can stop being so busy, then I'd be a lot better, right? A lot of the time we find ourselves like that, being busy and doing things that we want to do, things that we love, things that are important to us. And Paul was certainly that. Well, sometimes, though, we know that when we're busy, we can at times fail to neglect things that are necessary, things that we need to do, things that are important for us to do in our lives, particularly our lives for God. And sometimes because of earthly things, we might be busy, so busy to the point where these spiritual things get neglected. Or sometimes there might be something that we know we must do, but maybe it's a little bit difficult to do that right now because of logistics, because of details. And there's something that we got to do for God, but now it's becoming much more difficult to do it. And it's not difficult because someone is persecuting me in some way. It's not difficult because I'm being ridiculed or something like that. It's just difficult to do because I don't have a lot of time. Difficult to do because I'm busy with a lot of things that matter. Difficult to do because it's going to require some more sacrifice. And sometimes when that happens, a lot of the time when that happens, we might feel the temptation or have the tendency to say, all right, I can't do it. That's it. I can't do it. Or someone else is going to have to take care of it, but I can't do it. I'm too busy to do this. Someone else has got to do it. And I understand sometimes why we might just throw our hands up like that. But what we ought to do is ask the question, and we'll see this here in this passage, is that the way God would have us to handle that? There are a lot of things that must be done for Him. And when it becomes more difficult than it was before to do these things, should we just say, you know what, no, I can't do it. Someone else figure it out. Someone else's problem. Well, Paul had this kind of a situation where he was simply too busy to do something, or at least was too busy to do something that he really wanted to do. Something that mattered for God. Something that was part of his Christian work. His work, especially as an apostle. And the Bible says in Acts chapter 20, verse number 13, then we went ahead to the ship and sailed to Assos, there intending to take Paul on board, for so he had given orders, intending himself to go on foot. And when he met us at Assos, we took him on board and came to Mytilene. We sailed from there, and the next day came opposite Chios. The following day, we arrived at Samos and stayed at Trogyllium. The next day we came to Miletus. So now they've arrived at Miletus. For Paul, look here at verse number 16. For Paul had decided to sail past Ephesus so that he would not have to spend time in Asia. For he was hurrying to be at Jerusalem, if possible, on the day of Pentecost. You notice this. Paul has this schedule. So he's going from place to place to place to place, and he's hurrying through here. Again, that's what the word that's used here. So he did not want to, this time, spend time in Asia. He wanted to skip that so that he could get to Jerusalem by the day of Pentecost. It was something that was so important for him to do. It was supremely important. It mattered to his ministry, his work for God. And so he had to kind of, he had to kind of cut through, essentially. But there was an issue, though. Paul also wanted to address the elders here at Ephesus. So he can't stop there because he's short on time, but he needs to address the elders at Ephesus. So what do? Well, hop on a Zoom call, right? A conference call? No, don't have that opportunity. In that situation, it would be really easy for Paul to just say, it can't happen. Can't be done. Too bad. Someone else is going to have to figure that out. They'll have to figure out their own problems on their own. It would be really easy to say that, really understandable. Paul has a deadline he's trying to meet, and he has a lot that he has to do, and he's already doing a lot for God. We probably would say, it's come on, Paul. Just someone else will do it. Just let it go. But we would say that probably. We would feel that way. That's fair, right? Paul, just give it up. You can't do it. You can't do it. You notice this. What's the next verse say? Verse 17. From Miletus, he sent to Ephesus. He wasn't able to go to Ephesus, but he was able to send to Ephesus and call for the elders of the church. And when they had come to him, he said to them, you know, from the first day that I came to Asia, in what manner I've always lived among you. And then he begins to address them. What did he do? He found a way. He found a way. I can't go to Ephesus, and I want to address the elders, and they are at Ephesus, but I will be going through Miletus. Miletus is close to Ephesus, relatively close to Ephesus geographically. So I found a way. I can send someone while I'm still back here. I can send someone down to Ephesus and then say, we're going to meet Paul in Miletus, and then we all meet up together, same time Miletus. I keep my schedule, and then I still get to address them by them meeting me there. Isn't that amazing? Before Paul would say no, Paul did his best to find a way. I commented on that this morning in my sermon about working for God. Don't say, I just can't do it. I don't have the opportunity to do it. Don't say that unless you sincerely tried to find a way. So much of the time we just say, I can't do it. And we don't even think about why we can't do it. We just say, can't do it. I don't have I have the ability, I have the desire, but I don't have the opportunity. The door's not open for me to do it. Really? Why not? Well, in Paul's case, let's say Paul were to say, I can't do it. Why not? Well, I'm not passing through Ephesus, and those elders are at Ephesus. Have you tried everything? Have you tried to find a way? If Paul hadn't tried, he just would have kept on going, and those Ephesus elders would have kept on struggling with everything that they were struggling with, and it was a lot. And Paul had to remind them of a lot. But instead, Paul sees that problem and he goes, okay, how can we make this work? How can we make this work so that I can still fulfill my responsibilities for God? I'm going to send someone over there in advance. They're going to meet me up in Miletus. Everyone gets blessed at the end of the day. I get to go to Jerusalem on the time frame that I needed to, and they get to still be addressed by me and get their issues sorted out, their questions answered, you could say. I want to encourage you this week in your life. Don't say no until you've tried everything. Don't say no until you try to make a way. When it comes to doing things for God, we're talking about, don't just jump to the knee-jerk reaction and say, I can't do it. I want to encourage you in your prayer life. Be encouraged and be assured and tell God this when you pray to him. God, I believe that when I don't see a way, you can make a way. There are things that I want to do for you, Lord. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to have the opportunity to do those things, but I believe that you will make that way for me. You will make that possible for me. And Lord, give me the wisdom to be able to find a way in my life to do your will. God, I have an ability to be part of this ministry. Give me the wisdom to see what I need to cut out in my life, what changes I need to make, what compromises I need to make in a schedule, as far as the schedule goes, to be sure that I'm still doing your will and working for you in the ways that I need to. Pray and ask God for help in those things and commit yourself to him in those ways. And I'd also encourage you, read in the ministry of Jesus how he essentially was doing everything he could to make time for as much as he could for God. Jesus didn't just say, no, can't do it just for any old reason. He did say no at times, but for the right reasons, because there was just no way. When he did say no to things that would have cost him his time, he said no because it was the right thing to do. But the things that he needed to do for God, he moved everything he possibly could to make sure God comes first. I would encourage you to read Mark chapter 6. And there's parallel passages close to that as John chapter 6 as well. Read Jesus in those passages and how he manages his time so incredibly well. And then thirdly, in your life, when it comes to the things you got to do for God, stop the knee-jerk reaction of just saying, nope, can't do it. I'm too busy. Nope, can't do it. I don't have the opportunity. I'm occupied with other things, or this just doesn't work out logistically. Try to make a way. Doesn't God deserve that? Sometimes people say, why do I need to try to make a way? Someone else can do it. Does God not deserve you doing your best to make a way, to make sure that you do his will? Come on, are you going to say that he doesn't? If you have the ability to serve God in some way, isn't the least you can do? Do your best to try to open up the door so that you can be able to do that and have the opportunity to do it. Doesn't God deserve that? Of course he does. So this week and always, make a way before you make an excuse. Make a way so that you can do it instead of just knee-jerk reacting, instantly saying, nope, not going to be able to do it. Your work for God matters that much. Be blessed this week and always. I love you very much, and Lord willing, I'll see you next time. Take care. Goodbye.